way. I would never talk to her the same way I would talk to my 12th grader or my 9th grader. It's just different. So I just think we need this because you have to speak to them. You have to teach them differently. You have to talk to them differently than you would when they're in middle school. Because they come out of middle school and they're all, yeah, then they're different kids when they get older. Now they just change. So I think this is a great thing for that too. If we don't have it, we expand it in middle school. I think that's great. I think they need it. But I also think we need a different program, something for high schoolers that is separate and different, that really meets them where they are.
The Friday idea, I think what I heard you say was that it's going to be primarily freshmen and sophomores. So is that true?
Well, our goal for next year is to try to come up with about 10 lessons for freshmen and sophomores. However, I certainly wouldn't rule it out if they came up with some lessons, a few perhaps that they think might be really appropriate for juniors or seniors. They could take the same. They could take a few Fridays for juniors and seniors too, but targeting specifically freshmen and sophomores, knowing that they're trying to work on the transition program already, knowing that they're trying to lengthen the connection between the project adventure peer leaders and the freshmen to try to strengthen that. Knowing that they've already got some plans for that, I think it's reasonable to target freshmen and sophomores first and try to hit a certain number of lessons along the way there. But I certainly like the idea ultimately, and obviously I know Mr. Krause is here, and I want it to be Ridge High School's program and what they develop and grow from within with a vision or a theme, if you will, that the students help to create something that becomes the anchor point for the students from the day that they walk into the door of Ridge High School as freshmen until the day they walk across Lee Field, assuming we have good weather and they graduate. And that theme is kind of something that sort of gets hammered home a little bit all the way throughout, but it's their theme. It's a theme that hopefully the kids will come up with, working with the staff at the high school. And ultimately, if they had 10 Friday lessons from freshman year right on through senior year, and they were good quality lessons that are developed over time, and they really help develop kids' character, integrity, digital citizenship, to be the kind of students that we want to graduate from Ridge, then I think that would be terrific. But we have to start somewhere.
No, I was just wondering about the possibilities of interdisciplinary if we're really targeting just the, it's just going to be a freshman class beyond that Friday.
Yeah, I really think we have to give the team a chance to grow the program for themselves, but we want to take a team approach that isn't necessarily just health teachers, guidance counselors, SACs. We have the blessing at the high school of having a full-time school resource officer. Administrators could help present lessons to kids, other teachers from other content areas. Depending on what the school is able to grow, I know they're working on developing a few different SEL committees at the school. So, I really want to give them the opportunity to fill the mission in the way that they grow and they're motivated by, and I believe they will.
I don't want to argue on this one, but the parents have a role to play, a major, major role to play. And we have to incorporate the parents into these programs. And because if the parents aren't teaching the kids not to do some of these things, that's a major problem. And I think whatever program is developed, the parents have to be involved in it. So, and encouraged to participate.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Byrne, and I've talked to Mr. Krause about finding a way to make sure that he includes getting student and parent input in the development of this programming. We're also trying to be proactive in outreach to parents and have nights and evenings where we can provide them some opportunities to learn about what we're trying to do as well. I think actually today's Monday, right? So Wednesday we have sort of the next Parent Academy. We're trying to get more Parent Academy type classes going, but I don't think there's any question that we believe wholeheartedly that parents and the school have to work together. I don't think that either side can be as successful as possible working alone. I think that working together, reinforcing what we both view as the best outcomes for our kids is the way we're going to get the best outcomes. Not just the 6 or 7 hours the kids are awake at home or the 6 or 7 hours they're awake with us, but together for 14 hours, hopefully, trying to reach similar messages. I think we have the best chance of success.
Yeah, I mean, I did see a fair number of students attending several of our events at night with their parents, which I was like, that's pretty impressive. So yeah, maybe more things like that, too, where the parents and the students are just getting together. Okay, so we'll move on to public comment on agenda items. If you come up, could you please, after you speak, sign in on the clipboard and also tell us your name and address when you come up to the microphone, please. Thank you.
James Local, 20 Evergreen Place. Nice presentation for gifted and talented, and I'm glad they're getting what they need. One small problem that I foresee, and I don't know if this was addressed or will be addressed, is parent recommendations. What parent isn't going to nominate the kid? So they're going to have a lot of parents nominating their kids. They're going to have to take a test, and what's going to happen? They're not going to get in. So what are you doing? You're creating more stress. So that's just my opinion. Mrs. Fox cited Administrative Code 6A, A-3.1. I would like to tie it into Administrative Code 6A-14, which is the New Jersey Administrative Code for Special Education. I don't think the board is aware of this code, and I would like for you to indulge me momentarily to just read some of the code to you and what it entails. To ensure that all students with disabilities defined in this chapter, including students with disabilities who have been suspended or expelled from school, have available to them a free, public, and appropriate education as a standard set under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, otherwise known as IDEA. 2, to ensure the obligation to make a free, appropriate public education available to each eligible student no later than the student's 3rd birthday, and that an individualized education program is in effect for the student by that date. 3, ensure that free, appropriate public education is available to any student with a disability who needs special education and related services, even though the student is advancing from grade to grade. 4, ensure that the services and placement needed by each student with a disability to receive a free, appropriate, and public education are based on the student's unique needs and not on the student's disability. 5, ensure that students with disabilities are educated in the least restrictive environment. 6, ensure that provisions of special education and related services. 7, ensure that the rights of students with disabilities and their parents are protected. 8, assist public and private agencies providing educational services to students with disabilities. And 9, ensure the evaluation of the effectiveness of the education of students with disabilities. It's riveting reading, and I highly recommend that all of you take the opportunity to read it. Members of the Board of Education spoke at the last meeting on how you care for our children. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It seems that you only look out for students in AP classes, honors, gifted and talented, STEM, chamber orchestra, and the list goes on. Yet you don't look out for the students in special education. You may claim you do, but you don't. I've been attending Board of Education meetings for over 5 years, and I've heard many complaints made to the board from special education parents without any action. Our kids deserve as much as the general education students, and they should be treated as equal members of our student body. I challenge you to look at our special education programs and all of its failures. And as Mr. Markarian just pointed out, with respect to the health curriculum, parents need to work together on this. And yet, parents aren't being allowed to work together on this as required by law as equal members of the IEP team. So, you can say all you want, but you're not practicing it. You're not doing it. You're not following the law.
Mr. Roper, you have 5 minutes.
Perfect. And to finish up, I'd like to ask the board one question. Is it your policy to edit recordings made of public comments by residents before posting them to YouTube to remove or otherwise censor those comments to which you would disagree or find problematic? Because I suspect that this is what's been done with the video from the last meeting of February 11th. That this has taken an unusually long time to be posted on YouTube, and I believe anyone who views the comments would come to the same conclusion. In the video posted earlier this evening, at the 33-minute, 29-second mark of part 2, a portion of my public comments are gone. They appear to have been removed, spliced, edited, censored. My spoken word, my comments made, are missing. Then, after a very noticeable visual blip in the video recording, it resumes at 33 minutes, 30 seconds. But my comments and my spoken words are missing. The comments that are missing are one example I gave, reporting an incident of inappropriate touching to the principal, and the principal's response was, "It's not my responsibility." A district complaint was filed, so as a board, you would have formal knowledge of the incident. If it appears you have gone to these lengths to censor my comments, or anyone else's for any reason, then you have undermined the public's trust to the office to which you were elected. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Denise Bressler. I live at 88 Linden Drive. I have a son and a daughter in the district. My daughter is at Lambs. My son is a third grader at Cedar Hill. I am interested in the Gifted and Talented program because as a learning scientist, I study learning for a living. And I do commend you on a wonderful presentation. I was so thrilled to see such a great vision for Gifted and Talented in this town. I love the research that you did. I love the hard work and the thoroughness of what you put into this program so far. And I love that you brought in an expert. Because as an expert in the field as well, I was very concerned with how your ID profile was structured. And it seems that Lenore has done a good job of helping you revamp that. Just a couple quick comments. Number one, map scores. They're not intended to be used for gifted and talented. I have 10 maps going on. Great. According to the organization that puts together the map scores, they're just not designed for that. COGAS, yes. Maps, no. Number two, the teacher surveys that you've been using in the past are not reliably designed for use in third grade or less. I'm sorry. They are designed for use in third grade and above, not below. So,
Could you please direct your comments to the Board of Education?
so sorry. Okay. So the teacher surveys that have been used mostly at the second grade level for putting kids into the Gifted and Talented program at the third grade level, the researcher who put together those surveys, he does not have research to back them up. They're reliably used in second grade and under. So the fact that they've been used at the second grade level has concerned me, and if they continue to be used, I think that is something the board should look into. So the maps, the teacher surveys, and then I just wonder why so much emphasis on standardized test scores. It didn't seem to me from the student, whether it be grades or something that happens during the school year, but it seemed a very heavy emphasis on test scores. So those are my 3 comments: the math scores, the teacher ratings, and the lack of regular performance. Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else for public comment? Yes, one happened, some here at Wales in 7th grade. I just want to say, first of all, I'm very grateful for the gifted and talented program. My son benefited from that in math at Oak Street with Mr. Horsley. Not only did it teach him more about math, that's enabled him to be in a freshman algebra program in his 7th grade year, but it actually just gave him the confidence to make decisions about his programming going forward. And I think that that's really important. So I'm very appreciative of that. I wanted to talk tonight about the health program, since Sebastian will be entering high school in a couple of years. I'm very concerned about increasing the amount of health programming without first revamping the program and taking into consideration all the things that you brought up tonight. I want to applaud the Board of Education in Berners Township and Basking Ridge. Really, I'm so appreciative for the assemblies that you have here at Lambs, for the assemblies that you have for the parents, everything from sexting and vaping and suicide prevention. I can't thank you enough, because even just bringing up the program in an assembly format and then having the talking points for the parents is just fantastic, because it gives me the ability to talk to my son about really important things that maybe he's not even aware that he needs yet. But as far as giving more time to health, I think it's important first to make sure that the programming is in place before just assigning more time to it. As far as I can see, if he's going to be talking about testosterone, or if he's going to be, utilizing his testosterone, I'd rather the latter, that he's just exercising and having that time to work out. But if there's actual programming in place and important topics that are relevant and timely, I'm all for spending the time on that kind of programming as he goes into high school. But first, I would say revamp that program and make sure that's in place before just saying we're going to put an extra marking period into it. I love the idea of assemblies or Friday programming. You're going to find, as I am too, that what's relevant today for him is probably going to change in the next couple of years. And so as that changes, if you have some assemblies and relevant things that come into play, as they happen real time, I think that's going to be fantastic. So I'd ask that you, continue on that line of thinking, as it seems that you are. Thanks.
My name is Barbara Ring. I live at 60 Kinnan Way. I have a son who's a senior and a daughter who's a freshman. My senior son has an IEP, and I agree with Mr. Paul that the district really doesn't do a lot for kids in special education. My son, when he got to grade, he's a senior now, huge basketball fan, not athletic. But I called his case manager, his guidance counselor, the vice principal, and said, is there a way we can sort of work him into the basketball program? Maybe get him to be a manager, just get him involved in the school. Never got a call back. Never even had the decency of getting a call back. Tried it again for sophomore year. No one from the administration returned my call. Case manager, guidance counselor, no one. So we dropped it. I was guidance counselor were going to write college recommendation letters. Because they don't know him. He's not a behavior problem. They've never seen him. Luckily, he got into the colleges of his choice. I have no idea what these people wrote about my son. None. My son achieved the rank of Eagle Scout at age 16. He is a Red Cross certified lifeguard at the YMCA. No thanks to an ounce of effort this district has helped him. None. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace how these kids are lost in all the gifted programs. And I appreciate the fact that we are a district that focuses on gifted kids. There are a lot of kids who need extra help. I appreciate the compromise between not adding additional help classes or adding the lessons in a different way. After the February 11th board meeting, which I was here for, where we talked about social and emotional learning, there were our Ridge cheerleaders who were leaving for nationals. We have a tradition where we have a send-off celebration. There were 3 performances that night. There were 3 teams that performed that night. The first team had their performance. The entire cast of the play showed up for that performance. And by the way, the whole thing lasted about 10 minutes for these 3 performances. The entire cast of the play in costume came in for the first performance. As the second group of students, who were freshman students, as they were taking the mat, the entire cast exited the gym, led by the teacher who helps facilitate the play. There were administrators in that gym, the teacher who facilitates the play were in the gym, and they left. It was a packed gym, and the students and the teacher walked out as these kids took the mat. So my request is not only do we need to help our kids, but I think our teachers need sensitivity training. They need social and emotional learning training themselves. Because as a parent with a special ed student, I've had my kid bullied. I've had him sit alone in the cafeteria, and not one administrator went up to him and said, let me try to integrate this kid into this school. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And if it's not a disgrace, it's non-existent. And I just think it's a shame. I think we need to start with the teachers, we need to start with the administrators, and that's how we teach our kids. We model the behavior we want them to follow, but we don't. We don't. And checking the box doesn't make us sleep well at night. It doesn't make you sleep well at night. That doesn't mean we've done something. We didn't make a difference by doing anything. By checking the box and we added extra classes. We gotta live it. Otherwise it doesn't matter.
I'm going to give about 1 minute.
I'm good.
Good evening, Ribby Carta, 58 Independence. I want to say thank you very much for having the gifted and talented presentation this evening. It was extremely informative and somewhat surprising as well, the disparity between the boys and the girls throughout the years. But it was interesting for me to see that on paper and read probably later on. Last year, I attended the majority of the Board of Ed meetings, and almost every meeting I had one comment that I would make every time, and it was about the expansion of the gifted and talented program. I think it's very, very well run. I think that the curriculum is excellent. The teacher that teaches one of my students, one of my children, is wonderful and is well received by the parents and the children. The projects are on point, they're important, they're interesting, they're relevant. Towards the end of last year, I believe there was some discussion that there would be expansion of the G&T program into perhaps language arts, history, whatnot. And I'd like you all to put that back on the agenda and discuss that amongst yourselves and consider the expansion of that, while also looking at some of the other programs that other parents have suggested this evening that are lacking resources and attention. My second point is in relation to the graded health class that you want to add for next year. I think there is a lot more program development that's probably necessary. There's probably a need to have parent input, student input, and I can honestly tell you to take away my child's study hall, which is so important in level setting the day for her, and also giving her some extra time to get schoolwork done during the day, as opposed to all the extracurriculars at night and having to manage your time and prioritize at night. I think that there's a lot more that you all need to probably listen and pay attention to achieve the goal that you truly want to achieve of having better adjusted, well-adjusted, emotionally stable students. And I just want to thank you also. It is not difficult to make those calls with respect to bad weather, and not everybody is ever going to be happy, but I will say I want to thank you for taking into consideration students, parents, teachers, bus drivers' lives, and making those tough calls, especially in the last week or so, so thank you.
Is there anyone else for public comment on agenda items?
Dario, 46 Dykeman Place. It just wouldn't be the same if I didn't come up, so I figured I would. I feel very appreciative to you guys tonight for what you've tried to do. I want you to know that, because I know it's hard coming from me. I heard a lot of great things. Some of it was confusing for me to understand. So I guess my question is, junior year in 2 years, is health going to be added to that grade? Is that where we're going? Where we're following the current freshmen for next year, and then the following year it's sophomore, junior year from then on out? Because I appreciate all the other things you've done, but junior year, I think everybody was in agreement that that was an egregious year to add any graded additional classes. Senior year, add them. I watched things on TV time and time again about how the colleges receive our kids and feel like they aren't prepared, and jobs receive our kids and feel like they aren't prepared. So I would welcome senior year. It might help them with their senioritis to have something to focus on that actually would benefit them. But I'd like clarification as to, are we adding health classes junior year? And also I wanted to reiterate what Mr. Vopel spoke about with the videos. To put the last Board of Ed meetings video out today is convenient, disappointing, and curious. So hopefully we won't have that problem in the future, especially if there's splicing going on. We want to have faith in you that you're doing what's best for us, but 100% we need to work on transparency with parents and parent involvement. Student involvement also. I think the great things can happen at Ridge. All the elementary schools are doing wonderful things. We see that every year. William Ann, also Ridge, with the plan that you guys have laid out, seems to be coming on board also. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you getting to hear a lot of good was accomplished, but I still have a question as to that junior year health class. If you can answer that for me before the end of the night, that'd be great. Thank you for your time.
Alicia Martini, 118 Blackburn Road. I like the compromise. The thing that worries me is that it's a compromise for 1 year, and so I'm just sort of curious, next year, next February, am I back here, same thing for the next 2 months? I don't know if you can answer that, but that would be helpful. We've spoken, again, for the past 2 months about how time can be found in the current health curriculum without adding new health curriculum, and I hope that's really taken a look at. So that's sort of where I sort of went for what I'm going to talk about tonight. By actually discussing the new William Annan health curriculum, similar to what's proposed for Ridge, it was needed to be expanded. And so my son is currently in the 7th grade health curriculum, and he is mad that I'm speaking right now because he's told me he likes health because he usually has about 10 to 15 minutes at the end of most of his health classes to finish his other homework. And he doesn't want me to say that out loud because he doesn't want that to be removed. Again, time needs to be adjusted. For whatever reason, whoever's creating these lesson plans, they need some time management or a better idea of how to run that. He actually gave an example of a class last week where the class consisted of taking notes on 2 PowerPoint slides on inhalants, and that was it. And the rest of the period, he was free. And like I said, he enjoys that. And additionally, he did tell me about a video where they watched about a drug, ecstasy, where one woman was explaining how this illegal drug actually saved her relationship, and how she continues to buy the drug legally from her dealer and uses it to maintain her relationship. And so again, I'm not sure sending mixed messages about the value of illegal drugs to 12-year-olds is necessarily a wise choice for the new health curriculum. So that's my concern, and that we were told at the BOE meeting on January 25th how badly this help is needed and how little time we have to teach it. So my question then is, why is so much time in health at both the high school, as we've heard in the past, and the middle school level being wasted? Last summer, there was an opportunity to create a current and meaningful curriculum for the middle schoolers, and I don't see that yet. And I don't know what happened there. Something was obviously missed. And what worries me is who's to say that when this new curriculum for Ridge is created, that miss won't happen again. And the same people are in charge, so again, that concerns me that these same misses are going to happen over and over, and we're going to have the same type of health class where kids sit and take notes off of a PowerPoint, and then they get to play on their phones at the high school for the last 10 or 15 minutes of class, as we've heard happens often. At the middle school, I don't really care as much about the waste of time. My son is missing square dancing for health, and as much as I would love to torture him by making him participate in square dancing, there's not a lot of value there, so I'm not that concerned he's missing it. But I do see a great value in option 2. And if option 2 is replaced with the same type of health class, then that will be a crime. And it will be doing way more harm than good for the large number of students who need that option 2. And it is a large number of students. For some reason, people on the board keep focusing on athletes. It's not just for athletes or overscheduled kids. And it's not just for overscheduled kids. At the January 25th meeting, you heard people speak, many people speak, and I know you've seen many all kinds of senators. Some were athletes, some were that forgotten 25% of kids at Ridge who need that period for extra help. Some were kids who do the gym and movement, band kids, drama kids, kids who work or do community service after school, etc. There's hundreds of different kinds of kids who use and value option 2, or actually gym as well. And Ms. McEwen said at the last meeting how angry people were about this issue and how it was surprising. Well, we are angry because we do feel sort of blindsided by this issue. I don't believe at any point prior to passing of this additional health class and was the removal of option 2 ever an agenda item or in a BOE minute. We may have talked about different SEL things.
Maybe have about 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. But never was the words removal of option 2 ever on the agenda. And I understand, Ms. Corrin, it's not the entire removal, but it is a marking period removal.
It's 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Not necessarily, depending on which grade you're speaking of. People in this town are tired of important decisions being made behind closed doors and with no public input. And now we linger because we have been speaking and sending emails about these issues for 2 months, and the comments of some of the board members clearly make us feel that you're not hearing us. Your job is not to judge us or lecture us on proper parenting, nor is to base your decision on your own personal prejudices or what works for your child. Your job is to represent all of us, the over 500 people who signed a petition asking you to stop these additional health classes.
formally asking you to review the way you make decisions for our children. I'm asking you to go to Gemba. It's a common phrase for someone in my specialty, transformation and change management. Go to Gemba is a phrase that means go to your people and ask them what they want. It's a platform, a voice of the customer platform a lot of successful cutting-edge companies such as Apple, Google, Facebook, and other Fortune 500 companies use to ensure they are successful with their people, their consumers, and their revenue. Go to Gemba and ask your students what they want. How many of you have actually sat down with these kids at lunchtime? How many of the people on this board have met with these kids personally? Not your student council, not from a survey, but actually talk to these kids, special needs kids and the average kids, and ask them what they want. It is a known fact that surveys don't work, and I wish this message would trickle down to the school system. Every week, if not every day, you tell these kids they matter, they are important. Every day you reinforce the fact that they should be independent thought leaders. We'll give them the chance to do so. Put your money where your mouth is and have them lead the change and be part of this decision. Nothing will build our confidence more than that. Work with the parents who helped make your school system the top-notch, high-performing school system it is by paying exorbitant extra help tutors on a weekly basis to pad the scores, help with SATs, and help with other items. You are nothing without the support of your students and parents. This should be treated as a partnership and not a dictatorship. These last few months, I've seen nothing but petitions come across my email and Facebook pages, not just on the health issues, but other things, such as clearing the track. Can you honestly say you are working with the parents and children when all these petitions are being formed and signed by hundreds of parents? You have to take a minute and ask yourself, why? You have to take a minute and ask yourself, why should you not second-guess your decisions? You can't even get simple things right, like a grading portal that you hired a consultant for and only used for 1 year. We were still talking about the scheduling when we don't even have the room. It leaves little faith for parents like me in the bigger decisions. I drive a carpool with neighbors a few times a week. And when it's my turn to drive, I sit with a half a dozen kids for the less than 5 minutes and less than 2 miles commute. And I can tell you, I learned a lot by just chatting with these kids. I'll tell you some of the things I've heard just in the last couple weeks.
Excuse me, you have about 1 minute to go.
Okay. Kids vape in class, and teachers don't do anything. They feel the pressure of the lack of coordination of tests, getting 3 to 4 tests on the same day. They feel the school spends money on things like consulting for scheduling, but won't repair little items such as the duct tape holes in the gym floor and the leaky bathrooms. There's not even funding for clubs. The counselors don't listen and don't care. The teachers take option 2. And last but not least, there are teachers that have become involved with students over the years, and the girls actually say if they bend over in that class, they'll get an A. If you just take 5 minutes and talk to these kids, you could learn a lot instead of sitting here and working in your silo.
evening. My name is Stella Perna, 105 Tuxford Terrace. That's a hard one to follow. I heard what you said tonight. I like to compromise, but again, I'd like to make sure that our community has input into what the curriculum will end up being. It cannot be done in a silo. And by the way, that's state law. That we have to have input from students, parents, religious leaders, administrators, and such. The timing of certain health curriculum is important. My kids aren't going to learn about vaping in 11th and 12th grade. They need to know what that is in middle school, so I don't understand why that's even in the high school. There are topics that are relevant, and I believe one of the parents said, this is a moving target. I don't think your health program can stay static from year to year. You have to get exit interviews from the seniors. They're the ones who are on the front lines. They know what's going on. They know about, the, what did you call it, digital citizenship, all those fake accounts. They know, and that's the kind of stuff they want the freshmen to know. We should have our seniors caring about the incoming freshmen and the 8th graders. That's how you build character, that's how you build community. The project adventure, I'd love to see that revamped. Again, I know that was a way for the kids to get to know each other, but I think they know each other from middle school and through sports and whatever. Some of the things that I find very important, and it's one of the things I noticed with my kids, especially the minute they got into the school, it was like day 2, it was all about college. And I said to them, turn it down. You don't need to worry about college. You just got to high school. You've got 4 years. But I have to tell you, it is the minute they walk into the high school, it's about college. No, that's stressful. I had to take the temperature down at home and said, don't worry. Keep your nose to the grindstone. Work on your grades, work on being your personal best. Don't worry about that white noise. You know where that white noise is coming from? The teachers and just the environment at the high school. The best thing that happened to the high school, I have to tell you, is Dr. Krause.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank God, because we need Dr. Krause in the worst way. He brings community to our school. The kids need to feel that this is a place they want to come to. My kids don't love school. I don't know any of my kids' friends who love school. Today, when it was a half a day, they were, again, clicking their heels. Yippee, we're at school. My one daughter said that the huzzahs went through the school when they were told that they were going to be leaving early. I get it. It's school. It's, it's what they're supposed to do. I tell them, we're professional students, this is your job. But when they're here, they should at least enjoy it. I like the fact that Dr. Krause is creating a community. We are rich. I want the kids to come in and feel like they are part of a really special group. And I feel like it's so close. And Dr. Krause is really trying. So please, whatever you can do, support Dr. Krause. In terms of the type of programs, as you know, and I've said this over and over, I run Girl Scouts for Town. Look for programs that are relevant, for senior year especially. I'm running a program for the girls on self-defense. But that could be for the boys too, and I may just do that through my son's Boy Scout troop. But self-defense, when they get to college, 3rd and 4th marking period, don't even bother with health classes 1st and 2nd marking period because they're busy applying to college. So self-defense, how you navigate the college scene, ways to avoid getting drugs in your alcohol. They're not supposed to be drinking alcohol. We know they are.
We have about 1 minute.
Thank you. What else did I want to worry about? Oh, yes. In terms of, as soon as they walk in, freshman year, teach them study skills, teach them how to manage their time, teach them about the importance of not posting everything, the importance of keeping themselves safe. Those are the kind of things that I think freshmen should learn. Obviously, they need it in middle school, but I think it's much more relevant when they get to high school because the colleges do look at their personal accounts. So anything that's on there, pictures, anything they've written, they have to understand the importance of that. And again, I know you're only adding 3 weeks, and although it sounds like it's not that much time, again, as parents, we should know what that curriculum looks like. I think it's important that we have input as well, because we just don't want to see, I don't want to hear about the Lorax movie in high school. That Lorax movie, my kids have seen that at least 15 times, and we own it. So Lorax needs to be removed. That's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarah Manick from 85 Governor Drive. Just have a simple question. I don't hear a lot of where bridge comes into play in terms of the triggers of stress directly. Like, why wouldn't we be looking at this from the bottom up in terms of the top down? I work with kids with special needs and mental illness myself, and when there are issues, you know, we can give parents pamphlets, and we can talk about what there are some, you know, solutions to this and that, and have special lectures come in and talk, and that's great and that's fine. But there's a special lecture almost every month. And I find them helpful, but I'd like to see more, or like to hear more of what can be done at the level of the bottom. You know, like for example, parents shouldn't have to choose. I don't have a kid that plays a spring sport, but parents shouldn't have to choose between a family vacation or a kid that hasn't had a break since Christmas and a sport. I just don't see how that's not being thought of. Is that being considered, these extensive sports schedules and demanding, you know, extracurricular activities? Even if a kid wants to try one thing at a time, it seems to be excessive. To me, that's where I think we can start also and get the parent input and the students' input from looking at really, you know, what are those triggers that can be actually changed from Ridge and not just slapping on, you know, basic talks. I'm also, again, just to reiterate what somebody else, a few of the other ladies said, your explanation was a little vague in terms of how, you know, the 3 weeks sounds great. It's great to hear that there's a compromise being made. It's great to hear that you're, you know, taking some things into consideration. But I'm just concerned and curious that that's kind of like a, you know, let's just say this, and then, you know, next year we're going to slap on the class. Anyway, I just want to know, you know, again, what exactly that means. I guess I wasn't following it myself, so maybe I just didn't hear you well. So again, just to ask about where, you know, what are those things that can be affected in the school day themselves before you slap on a class or before you slap on, you know, 3 weeks, whatever it may be? What are some of those triggers that can be changed at the level of the school first? You know, simple things. That's just what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Allison Wessels, 16 Kensington Road. I was looking back at the February 11th board meeting, and there was a comment that you made that resonated with me, and that was the concern about how do you measure the impact of SEL. And I too appreciate some of the compromise I've heard here. I'm hoping that there will be work to develop a very robust evaluation plan for the programs that are being proposed, and that would ask the questions, what does success look like? How do we evaluate this, not just in the long term, but in the short term? And if it's not working, how do we make adjustments? So that would be my hope for anything that's proposed. Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment on agenda items?
Monica Lynn, 166 Patriot Hill Drive.
Ridge High School. We've lived in Boston Ridge for 14 years, so she's gone through the entire school system. When I was in high school, I took a challenging course load filled with honors and AP classes. I participated in a multitude of extracurricular activities. In doing so, I still managed to have a social life and go to bed by 9:30 or 10 p.m. on most days. Today, my daughter has a challenging course load. 5 honors classes, and she participates in 1 year-round intensive sport and 1 club. That's it, 1 sport and 1 club. As she qualifies for option 2, she utilizes that study pipeline to do academic work that she otherwise has to complete in the evening. Even in doing so, she goes to bed around 11:30 p.m. or 12 a.m. every evening, trying to finish all of her homework, projects, and test preparation due to her rigorous schedule. She has minimal recreational time to spend with her family and her friends. Every child is different, and as parents, it is our job to recognize what is right for our children and our families. My daughter likes to be challenged, both intellectually in the classroom and year-round in the competitive sport which she has loved since she was 8 years old. She's extremely driven and passionate about achieving her goals and independently works very hard to do so. As a healthcare professional, I truly understand the benefits of implementing health and wellness techniques into our everyday lives. There are many out-of-the-box ways to implement these concepts and weave in various techniques throughout the day, as identified and illustrated by other school systems in New Jersey who have chosen to do so. How many of you have an Apple Watch? My Apple Watch reminds me every day, every hour, be mindful, breathe, get up, move around. In the age of technology, when things have changed so much since when we were in school, we need to think of new ways to help our children to survive in the world that they're living with today. We are doing our children a disservice by rolling these concepts into another graded academic class, as opposed to illustrating how they can implement them into their daily lives. Knowing this is a challenging time as children move into adulthood, we need to prepare them the best we can with the tools they need to succeed, both professionally and personally. My daughter's Spanish teacher at Lambs, Ms. Pizzuto, worked to do this with her class for several minutes every day. And I know the children appreciate it and learn from her techniques to reduce stress and enhance mindfulness. Another option would be to weave these health and social and emotional learning lessons into the current driver's ed curriculum. I understand that the current health curriculum is somewhat outdated and needs to be revisited as well, and this is a great opportunity to do so. I appreciate what you said about the assemblies. I think that is a great way to integrate some of these techniques into our children's lives. However, I have the same concern as other parents have expressed here today of being in the same situation of having a full marking period class again their junior year.
Excuse me, maybe about 1 minute.
Thank you. I am confident that if we work together as a community, we can find alternate ways, as you've suggested tonight, to implement these health and wellness techniques that will not simply satisfy a new curriculum requirement, but will actually have a positive impact in every child's everyday life. Please reevaluate your decision and listen to the children, as was suggested earlier. Please listen to our children that we are working so hard to help mold in their journey to becoming healthy, happy, and productive members of society. Thank you for taking the time to listen and for all that you do. I know that your job is not an easy one, and we do appreciate your efforts.
Is there anyone else for public comment? Okay, at this point, we'll close public comment on agenda items. We are now up to the approval of minutes. Can someone make a motion? Mrs. Holdridge and Mrs. Gray, seconded. Any comments or questions about the minutes? Can you give a roll call, please?
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Salmon?
We're up to the Finance Committee. There are 15 items. Would someone like to make a motion? Mrs. White and Mrs. Woolridge. Do you have anything to say before we vote?
No, finance met this morning, so.
Okay. Any comments or questions about the items that we're looking at?
Yeah, so, thank you, Mrs. Woolridge. The addendum item number 15, you may recall hearing about the senior internship project. We have to have a company work with us to track the student activities within the program, so the software does that.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes, on 1 through 14, I'm going to abstain on 15.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Mrs. Richmond?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Woolridge?
Yes.
Mrs. McHugh?
Yes.
Madam President?
Thank you. We're up to personnel. There's 23 items. Would someone like to make a motion? Ms. Schaefer and Mrs. Gray. The Personnel Committee did not meet since the last time I gave a report at the last meeting. Does anyone have any comments or questions about the items before we vote? Do a roll call, please.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Salmon?
Yes.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Mrs. Richmond?
Abstaining on 20, but yes on the rest.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Woolridge?
Yes.
Mrs. McHugh?
Yes.
Madam President?
Thank you. And we're up to the Policy Committee. There's 2 items. Would someone like to make a motion? Mr. Sandman and Mrs. Korn.
So, policy, we met on February 11th. We met on February 11th. First one, we had discussion about the regulation 5600 with the student code of conduct. We need to put some parents with definitive language that the regulation doesn't code displays affection in school. So this will also be added to the student code of conduct handbook. And we're still, the language is still being refined, so. Also, the policy and regulation 9150, which is school visitors. So in light of the importance of student privacy and school security concerns, the following is added to the policy and regulation. One is all visitors are required to report to a location designated by the principal upon entering the building. Visitors may not photograph, videotape, or report staff and or students without the principal's permission. And just more parents can have this reviewed by the board attorney. There's also a lot of adds in language to address how ID scanners will be handled in the school. And we'll try and write first. Regulation 2624 is the grading system. I think we talked about this a little bit before. Regarding assessments, following sections were amended. So section 8 regarding assessments, assessments are returned to students for review, not necessarily to keep, with descriptive and prescriptive feedback that motivates further progress. And section 9, assessments are returned to and shared with students in a timely fashion. Some summative documents district created may be filed with students before they are received by the teacher. Formative assessments are returned to the students for their attention. The decision as to whether a document is given to a student to keep lies with the teacher. The teacher to decide which one. For regulation 7510, use of school facilities. One of the qualifiers is about people use our facilities they pay. And, a qualifier for the lowest rental rate is that the renters are not charging a participation fee, an admission fee, or subsidy appropriate to the student during the extended absence, as well as deciding what missed work should be completed upon the student's return. The next are first readings, and the regulations. So, 2431.3 policy, 2431.3 is practice and preseason key acclimation for school-sponsored athletics and extracurricular activities to be revised. We're just following the New Jersey Interscholastic Athletic Association guidelines for acclimation. Right? And policy 2610 is educational program evaluation. Here's aligning the policy with the new QSAC requirement. The superintendent should use multiple, more than 2 sources of data to monitor student achievement and the progress of students. And the superintendent shall also use multiple, more than 2 sources of data to evaluate the effectiveness of programs, initiatives, and strategies. Policy 2419, which is commercial driver's license control, substance and alcohol use testing, has been revised. So there are 5 different kinds of tests for CDL drivers, kinds of testing for CDL drivers. And 25% of drivers must be randomly drug tested each year. Policy and regulation 5111. The eligibility of resident and non-resident students is revised so that F1 visa students will not be admitted to the school system. Policy 5330.04, administering opioid antidote. It's new. And the district is going to make Narcan available at all schools for the appropriate person to administer it. Policy 5337, which is service animals, is revised. Is revised to reflect expanded federal statute. It does not require the person with the service dog to have a personal liability insurance in order to have a service animal. It's an animal authority. And the school has to provide reasonable accommodations for them. Policy is a long meeting. Policy 5756 is the transgender students is revised, and the board needs to provide a safe and supportive environment in the schools where all children are treated with understanding and respect as pursuant to state statute. The policy and regulation 7440, school district security, is revised. It states that the director of safety and security does not have to be an administrator. They just must have expertise in the school safety and security. Policy 8860 is memorials. This was revised. So deceased board employees will be memorialized in an appropriate manner. Also, employees will be granted permission to attend services for a co-worker at the superintendent's discretion. The last point is the state is combining all student safety reports into a single system called the Student Safety Data System, SSDS. This is replacing the electronic violence and vandalism reporting system. It's replacing it in all the following policies. So in policy 2415, regulation 20, which is unsafe school choice options. It's in regulation 2460, which is special education for appropriate public education. Policy 5600, the student discipline and code of conduct. Policy 5612, and regulation 5612, the assaults on district board of education members or employees. Policy 8461, reporting violence, vandalism, harassment, intimidation, bullying, alcohol, and other drug offenses. And also, the last one, regulation 8461, which is reporting violence, vandalism, harassment, intimidation, bullying, alcohol, and other drug offenses. As well as adding changing the data system, the district must send out a media violence pamphlet annually to all families. That's part of that policy, that regulation. Policy and regulation 5611, removal of students for firearm offenses. And policy and regulation 5613, removal of students for assaults with weapons offenses.